Good afternoon. I usually do my podcast in the morning, but it's been a while since I've done one. So I wanted to jump back on here and tell you that I found a great podcast for you to listen to. It's the Elisabeth Elliot podcast. I want to direct you to her. Forget about this one. Steadfast Podcast is promoting the Elisabeth Elliot podcast. I've been soaking up every episode I can, but it's kicking my tail. But it's been a blessing at the same time. If you want sound doctrine and if you want truth, remember truth hurts, but it is for our good. So I found it on Spotify. You put in the Elisabeth Elliot podcast, Elisabeth with an S, and it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, wherever you get podcasts. You need to check this out. And I'm just going to share little bits and pieces of what I've learned over the past 2 weeks that I've soaked up. And it has been so good because I can use it every day to remind myself. A lot of people say that they're angry and bitter at God because he doesn't do what they want him to do. As if we're here, as if we exist for him to make us happy. And she said, am I going to be angry at God, who not only knows what I need, but when I need it? I'm going to be bitter with my Creator, the one who knows what is best for me and who has demonstrated his love for me. What else could he do to demonstrate how much he loves us? And he only works things out. If you're his child, I've said it a million times, everything is for your good. There's nothing bad that can happen to you if you're his child, if you really believe it, his word. Nothing will harm us. It doesn't matter, what looks to us like a good thing may actually ruin us. And what looks like a bad thing is what's going to be best for us, because an all-knowing, all-wise God is in control. And we call ourselves believers, but we do not believe. Do we want answers or do we want holiness? Do we want comfort or do we want Christ? And the only way, we ask for faith and we ask for patience and we ask for these things, but the only way to have those things is to be tried, to have a test, to see if you have true faith. That's what 1 Peter says. Do not count it a strange thing. Don't act like it's some strange thing that's happening to you. God has promised. We are not exempt. But we will have peace. We will have the only way you have to remind yourself of this. We're not exempt. This is not our home. He is preparing us for that place. He is trying our faith. And I love this little illustration she gave of this lady was praying, and of course, and she got her answer of what she was wanting, and it was a miraculous thing. And then she says, but I know what you're thinking. I've prayed and nothing like that's happened to me. And she says that what has been so good to me is, she said, the answer I may need for this day is not the answer you may need for that day. We have the same problem. God knows what is best for each of us, and we need to choose to trust him. We may have the same thing going on. I may have a sick loved one. I may have unemployment. I may have financial trouble. But we may have different answers because we have different needs, and our Lord knows what we need. He is conforming us to Christ. Again, Do we want answers? Do we want comfort? Or do we want Christ? That's what we have to ask ourselves. And the thing is, we have to remember his promises. I loved, again, this lady. Elisabeth Elliot said that she has this lady that she really, really has, I forgot her name, but she says she's 83 and she's still a missionary. Now, this was in the 90s, because Elisabeth Elliot passed away in 2015. So this lady, I'm sure, is already passed as well. But at this time, she was 83, still a full-time missionary. And she says her friends come up to her all the time and say, "Wow, you have great faith." She says, "I don't have great faith, but I can read. God says he will be with me at all times." Done. God says to not be anxious about anything, but in everything, pray, and the peace of God will be with you. He says, "Great peace have those who love your law. Great peace have those who meditate on him." We have the answers. If you can read and you can trust and obey, for there's no other way to be what? Happy in Jesus. And she talks a lot about the gateway to joy. Joy is found in obedience. There's only one way to have joy in this world, and it is God's will. Obeying. We are not our own. You know, the world tells us, you do you. The world tells you, you got to do what's best for you. You got to put you first. Jesus says, "Take up your cross daily and follow me." What is the cross? It is a symbol of torture, pain, loneliness, suffering, dying. But it's not for nothing. She has a book that I'm getting ready to order. Suffering is not for nothing. Our pain will not be wasted. He says, "Follow me." It will be painful, but no pain, no gain. So the cross is a symbol of dying to yourself, putting others' needs first. Jesus' response was always yes. What does my response have to be to follow him? And then, you know, she talks a lot about, we say, we've had it. I've had it. But he promises to not let us be tempted what we're able. Yet we say we've had it. See, the thing is, we don't have much endurance. We don't have much patience. Patience in tribulation. Joy while we suffer. See, all these things we have to remind ourselves. Or we will give up, or we won't endure, or we will think it's a strange thing. But I don't have it, but there was a meme I just put up. It's talking about malnutrition. You know, if you don't eat right, you will be malnourished if you don't eat enough of the good stuff. Well, your spiritual life is the same way. Get in the Word. Trust his promises. Pray and ask God to help you be steadfast. She even has episodes called The Steadfast Heart. So I encourage you, go find this podcast. If you listen to it, let me know what you thought, how you're growing with it, how the Lord's using it, because I'm hooked. I've already ordered Seth some books from her. I didn't realize, I knew her story, but I didn't realize how the Lord has used her so greatly. And I pray that there will be a blessing to you. And let me know if it's kicking your tail like it's kicking mine, because I've already told some people about it and they've been listening. So I wanted to tell you that Steadfast Podcast encourages you. Go find Elisabeth Elliot podcast. Be encouraged, and during these difficult times. But you see, remember, it's always been difficult since day one, since Cain killed Abel. Creation, sin entered the world. It's always been dark. It's always been suffering. There's always been pain. So don't think we're living in some strange time, like, whoa. And God is still on the throne. This is my Father's world. Oh, let me never forget that though the wrong seems off so strong, God is the ruler yet. So I encourage you to be steadfast. Let me know what you think. And we'll see if I can do another podcast sometime. But I hope that, again, you will be encouraged and settled in your heart because Christ is King.